Well, good afternoon and welcome to the principal's office. I am Principal Edward Gordon. I am so glad you have tuned in for this weekly broadcast where we'll be interviewing educational stakeholders who have made a significant impact for themselves, for others, and with others in education. At Gordon Leadership Academy, we believe there are many outstanding leaders in this world, and weekly we want to highlight those leaders, leaders that will help us provide models of excellence for others. Today, I have invited a guest on the show that models excellence for her family, community, the state of New Jersey, and nationally. Miss Nadine Wright Arbabakar. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Nadine.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me, Principal Gordon.
Yes. So I would like to start off this show with an introduction of our guest today. Nadine Wright Abubakar is a native of Newark, New Jersey, and currently resides in the city of East Orange. Nadine received her early education in the Newark and East Orange school systems and went on to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Management and Marketing from Felician College. She worked in the banking industry in various positions for over 25 years. In 2006, Nadine's life was changed forever with the diagnosis of autism for her then 26-month-old son, Nason. Once Nason was diagnosed with autism, she changed her career path and embarked on a journey to help other families affected by autism. She shared she started a nonprofit called Nason's Place, inspired by her son Nason. Nason's Place was formed in October 2012 as a 501c3 nonprofit organization due to the lack of accessible and affordable educational and recreational programs, services, and other resources for children affected by autism in and around her underserved inner city community of Essex County, New Jersey. She is the founder and president of Nason's Place, as well as an advocate for children and families affected by autism. Her passion, dedication, and commitment in helping children and families affected by autism is shown in all that she does. Since starting Nason's Place, Nadine has provided a series of programs, services, and resources toward this effort with the support of the public and private sectors. Nason's Place is bringing help, hope, acceptance, and opportunity to families affected by autism. Nadine's dream of having her own facility is at the heart of all that she does. And in 2019, that dream became a reality when Newark Mayor Ross J. Baraka and the city of Newark gifted Nason's Place with a home of their own. She is on a journey to raise funds to make it a state of the art autism center, providing accessible and affordable educational and recreational programs, services, and supports for children and families affected by autism in and around underserved inner city communities. When she is not advocating for her own son and families affected by autism, she enjoys spending time with her children, grandchildren, family, and friends. Again, please help me welcome to the show Miss Nadine Wright Abubakar. Welcome again, Nadine.
Thank you. I know that was a mouthful, right?
But you have accomplished a lot in your career and your life, and I'm so glad that today we're able to share that with the audience. So let's start off. Toni Morrison has stated, if there is a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, you must be the one to write it. Nadine, what is your story?
Wow, you just touched my heart on that one. Toni Morrison is my favorite author of all times. I got to tell you, I was recently, yesterday, matter of fact, on the campus of Howard University, where my daughter will be attending or is attending. And there she was on one of the flagpoles that they have or the trees that they have. And there was my idol, my author, my everything. I love Toni Morrison. So to start off that introduction with what you just said, just highlighted this interview so far. You know, her story, it's interesting because I thought I had my story prior to an autism diagnosis. My job in the banking industry, working for corporate America, was going to be my story. That was my retirement job. That's what I knew I was going to do. But sometimes life has a way of changing what you believe is your journey or your destiny. And then God steps in and tells you what it is. And my story, as it will be told, is that I am a woman who loves her children, loves her family, loves her community. And when she saw something that was missing in the community because of what her own son wasn't able to get when he was first diagnosed, she forged into action. I wanted to be a part of the solution within our community instead of the problem that continues to exist systematically, especially in underserved inner city communities, and with children of color. The one thing I can tell you, the disparity, and you can probably attest to it, is huge in certain communities, especially urban inner cities. So my story, or her story, as you would say, would be about helping, commitment, community, family, and community.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story, and just a portion of your story with the audience. And what has definitely stood out is that you are a problem solver, and that is something that is needed in our communities to be able to have a greater impact and to uh, allow for some resolution to solve some of the challenges that we're having within our communities for our youth as well as our adults. So let's talk about what gets you excited every day. What wakes you up in the morning?
My children, right? My children are my driving force, but not only my children that I brought into this world, my children, and I talk it about the children and the families that I met along this journey called autism. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. So, I go to sleep, I'm Nason's place. I wake up, I'm Nason's place. But first and foremost, I'm a mother. So my children are my driving force and gets me to go in the morning. And then, Nason's place and those children that I've grown to love and who've grown to love me over the years for the work that we do within our community. But knowing that there is someone out there working towards making sure that these children get exactly what they need and deserve so they can reach their full potential. So my driving force is will always be around children and families.
Very good. And one thing that when I talk and bring on the guests on the show, it's all about significance. Not only what you're doing for yourself, what are you doing for others. And it's so glad to hear that what excites you in the morning is the work that you're doing, not only for your own children, but for the many others around this state, and also even influencing policy and direction nationally as well. So let's talk about what is your most recent book you have read, and how is that book impacting your actions today?
My goodness. It's been a while since I read a book. I'm going to say that. Um, you know, in this world that I now live in, it's hard for me to even find a minute to read an article. But, even though Toni Morrison is my favorite of all times, and growing up, especially through my high school years, she was that huge influence on me. So I haven't read many books lately, but if I have to tell you some excerpts of a book I read, was Becoming
Okay.
by Michelle Obama. I'm working on getting that audio though, because the book is very, very thick. But she is a woman who truly, truly inspires so many of us, to want to reach new highs and want to be able to be about helping, because she literally is helping the world. And just to be able to read her story is an excerpt of it, because I haven't read the whole book yet. It excites me, and that's definitely something that's on my to-do list to make sure that I do. I'm in awe of her. It's funny because often I have this pocketbook that has her picture on it, and I have it. And sometimes I wear my hair a certain way. It says, "Oh, you favor Michelle Obama." I was like, "Oh, that's a huge compliment." But to sum it all up, her story. is what inspires me, and one of the greatest books that I know I will ever read. But just reading the excerpts of what I've done, I know that's that, and we already know she's a bestseller. So you know, I would say Becoming.
Very good, very good. Thank you for sharing that with the audience. So I know that you have 25 years in the banking industry, and also you are an executive president of a nonprofit. But through this work, I just want to talk about mentorship and coaches. I want to know at this point of time, do you have a mentor that you have that's impacting your life and your journey? And this time, if you can just share with the audience one of those lessons that you learned from either a mentor or a coach to be able to help you to get where you are right now in your life.
Well, I would say that I have been blessed to have some amazing, and I call them sheroes, along this journey called autism. Um, there's a few that stick out in my mind, but I'm going to touch on the ones I think that are more prolific for me than others, and that's those autism moms every single day doing what they do to raise their children against all odds. And again, most of the families that we serve are single parent households. Trying to hold it down. I applaud them. I applaud them for advocating for their children. I applaud them for recognizing that there's something going on with their children. I applaud them for getting up every day and saying, I can do this. And some days being like, I can't, but keeping the faith and knowing that they can. And I got to tell you, for me, God has been my faith and saving grace through all of this. But I will tell you, I've had some amazing women. Um, and one that sticks out to me, it's actually two that I'm going to talk about. One is Holly Robinson Peete. We all know that she is a mom. She's an actress. She's also an advocate in her own way. But what I love about Holly Robinson Peete is that she came out and she started talking about autism, and she started talking about it in a culture that a lot of people weren't talking about, of color. A lot of times there's a stigma associated with autism, especially in the African American community. And I applaud Holly for putting her family out there on that national platform. But I don't even know she realized at that time if what her impact was going to be, because it had a huge one on me, because I felt alone. I felt like I was by myself. And to see her, an actress, in Hollywood, the glamour, the glitz, talking about something that affects so many of us every single day. Sometimes we tend to put people, celebrities, on a different pedestal. But at the end of the day, she's just a mom just like me. So having her out there on that national platform, sharing her journey with her son, giving others hope, because she was told, I remember speaking to her and even being at one of her events, and she talks about the never day, because the day she got the diagnosis for her son RJ, she was told he would never have friends, he would never drive, he would never have a job. Never, never, never. RJ is driving. RJ works for the Dodgers. He's living his best life. He's doing all these amazing things. But what she's done is given so many of us hope. So I remember when I first decided that I wanted to start Nason's Place, she was the first face I looked at, because she was the only face I really saw out there like me talking about it. And I thank her in my head just about every day, because people like her are the people who inspire women like me to do the work I need to do on that local level. I don't want to be nationally like Holly, because what she do is that overview, but I do want to be nationally on a local level. I want Nason's Place to be the model for other underserved inner city communities to follow. And that's my goal, is to be able to be the blueprint so that other communities can provide the services and resources that are not currently there for their children. So Holly would definitely be one of those people who, even though I don't talk to her on a daily basis, I've had wine with her, so that was exciting in itself. But she's a huge impact on what I've done, and one of my driving forces. Another one is a local one in the community, which is Michelle Adebato. I don't know if you know who she is, but Michelle Adebato was a principal at my son's school at New Jersey Regional Day. And I call her one of God's earthly angels, because she opened up her heart to want to help children on the autism spectrum. And she has a center for autism, and it's for children, I mean, for the adults 21 and over. But I remember going to her, and this is where my lessons come. I remember when I first started Nason's Place in 2012, I didn't know what to do, where to get started. My business background helped me a lot. but I wanted to talk to others who had started nonprofits. How can you help? What can you do? And I remember Michelle telling me, I remember her telling me, well, you do A, B, C, you do your research, blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking, I'm like, well, Dag, I need you to put me right there. Because at that point, I wanted to open Nason's place yesterday. We needed resources. I needed them now. I didn't understand that day that I needed to put into work. What Michelle did is give me the opportunity to put in the work. Because I was like, wow, okay. She said, do this, this, and this. Okay, so I need to do this. I knew I had put in the work 3 years later when I got a call from Michelle Adebato, and she's also the CEO of the North Ward Center, who's an amazing organization doing some great things in the city of Newark. And she said, Nadine, we would like to honor you. I got a personal call, so I was overly excited because this is a woman I looked up to who was doing great things in the community. She said, we want to honor you. And I said, honor me? She said, yes. She said, the work that you're doing to help these families in our community, you are doing it. She said, you're doing it, girl. And I was like, wow, full circle right now. Michelle Adebado's calling me and telling me I'm doing the work. And even over the last few years, she's been right there. Nadine, anything you need, you want to talk, let's talk about it. I've sat with her on many occasions. To talk about the journey of the direction of Nason's place. She's given me some valuable information. I trust her opinions and her judgments, and I applaud her for allowing me to be that person that she is helping along this journey. And we often joke, because she has the adults populations. And she said, well, you got the children and I have the adults. And I said, yeah, when I'm finished with the children, I'm sending them over to you. But it's not a lot of resources in our community. And I think the two that stick out the most to me right now is the Center for Autism, which is ran by Michelle Adebato, Nason's place, who's serving children under the 21 population. So together, with that type of support, we're bound to make sure that this community gets the resources that they need. But if those two women, along the many, I can be on this interview with you, a discussion with you all day, talking about the amazing women that I met through this journey. But these are the two who, in the very beginning of my journey, have kind of shaped me to go in the direction that I'm going.
Oh, thank you very much for sharing the two mentors that you're highlighting at this period of time. And what I was listening to, what you were saying about the mentors, is just the opportunity of and about true mentorship. Those that are farther along in the journey than you are at this period of time and where you want to go, be able to pour into you the direction and the information so that you can go on this path of success. And also, I heard a lot about accessibility, being able to reach out and contact them for support on this journey. So I'm glad that you were able to spotlight two out of many mentors that you have on this journey, and be able to share how they have definitely had an impact on you as others, as well as others. So thank you very much for sharing that. So let's talk about the vision and mission of Nason's Place. If you could share that with the audience at this period of time.
Well, our vision, first of all, our mission is to provide access to affordable educational, recreational support services and resources for children affected by autism in and around underserved inner city community. It's very important for children and families to be able to stay in their own community and get the resources that they need. I remember when Nason was diagnosed and I started looking for resources in Essex County, and I always came to a roadblock. There was none here. And I was like, why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? But then when I go into other communities, suburban communities, it existed. I remember someone finally calling me and saying, hey, we can give you 4 hours of respite in Sparta. That's an hour drive. So it would take me an hour to get there, an hour to come back, and then like, why don't we have these things here? I mean, our vision is to make sure that parents are able to get their children to reach their full potential by providing services early on, because it's important once you get that diagnosis to start to act. Not be reactive, but be proactive in providing the resources and services. And you shouldn't have to take a year or two to find them, even if they don't exist in your community. They should already be there. I mean, New Jersey currently has the highest rate of autism in our country. 1 in every 32 children in the state of New Jersey has some form of autism. And the least amount of resources are in the urban inner cities. We need to be able to bridge that disparity. We need to be able to close that gap. But we need organizations to come together so that we can find these resources for these families. because I never want a parent to feel the way I felt when I tried to find resources for Nason. And that was a big motivator for me too, to make sure that others didn't have to leave their community, whether it was for a sensory friendly movie day, which is something that we currently have in our community in the city of Newark. And it was a simple act. A big thank you to Cityplex 12 and Frank Gonzalez for opening up our doors. I saw AMCs all over doing these sensory friendly days, but why should we leave our community to have one when we got a movie theater right here? And they graciously opened those doors for us. So our vision is to make sure we make everything accessible and affordable. Give families a peace of mind that when they drop their children off, that they're with trained and experienced professionals. And that's very important because everyone can't work with our children. You have to be a trained professional. You have to have compassion in your heart and you have to have dedication because it is overwhelming at times with some of the involuntary meltdowns and behaviors, unpredictable behaviors that our children have because of their devices.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for sharing the work that you're doing in Nason's Place. And in the introduction, we read and learned about a building that was gifted to a Nason's Place. And at this period of time, how can any member of the audience, if they want to contribute and donate money to support the renovations and the work you're doing, what is the best way to make donations to Nason's Place?
Well, the best, first of all, I want to say thank you, a big thank you to Newark Mayor Ross J. Baraka, because he watched me over the years. Because let me just say this, when I started this journey with Nason's Place, I knocked every door that I could possibly knock on. City officials, county, local nonprofits, I was out there. And, as I said, I had to put in the work. And he saw that I was putting in the work. Not only did he see that I was putting in the work, he saw the need for us to have a center for Nason's Place, a place for our children to be able to stay into their own community. And he knew that we didn't have our own home. And he said, you know what? You're a part of the solutions in our community. And the city of Newark is opening our doors and we want to help. So I applaud him and the city of Newark for taking this opportunity and this chance on us. And I want us to have the state of the art autism center. There was an autism center recently built in Livingston. I'm not sure about the organization. I believe it's a Jewish organization. It's a beautiful, oh my God, the name just flew over my head. I went and visited. It's phenomenal. It's amazing, the opportunities that they have. And it's in Livingston, right? We're in Newark and East Orange and Irvington, and a lot of our families can't travel. Again, why are we leaving our community? How can we make something like that happen here? And I'm on this journey to make sure that we have something similar. I don't know if it's going to be to that extent because it is phenomenal. But I'm optimistic that we can get the funding that we need to build it. And if anyone would like to donate, they can go to www.nasonsplace.org. And we have a GoFund account that's been set up for us to raise the money. People say, well, Nadine, how much money are you trying to raise? $4 million is our goal. $4 million. And the reason we want $4 million, it's going to take $2 million to build it the way that I want it, 2.1 or 2.2. But once we build it, how are we going to sustain it? I want to be able to go in the door with some money to sustain it for at least 2 to 3 years as we continue to try to get funding so that we can sustain it, yearly. But you don't want to go in with just a building and not the funds to continue to operate it and run it. That's that business background that kicks in there on there. So, it's important. I tell people, we had a $5 challenge going on early and a few years ago. How awesome would it be if we can get 1 million people to donate $5? 1 million people. What difference you would make? How many lives you would change forever? And that's basically what we're asking now. $4, 1 million people. We can change the lives of so many children and family. We can give them a purpose in their community. We can make them feel a part of their community. But more importantly, we can allow them to stay in their own communities. Why are we leaving that? And I think it's important that we create what we need right here.
Very good. Thank you very much. And on the screen, we do have the website listed at www.nasonsplace.org. And I'm also going to put up the telephone number that you can reach out to Nadine at 973-424-7781. And you heard the vision and mission of Science Place outlined by Nadine. And it's an opportunity for all of us to contribute, starting off with $5 or more towards supporting this vision so we can have the state of the art facility for children and youth, young adults on the spectrum for autism in the city of Newark. So I will tell you, I am committed to adding on to this fund. And also, I would like to challenge everyone that's in the audience to go to the website and also support this initiative. So let's talk a little bit more about professional development that you have seen benefit as being a nonprofit president and executive to really support the work that you're doing. Is there a professional development experience that you would encourage other nonprofit leaders or presidents to attend?
Well, as I said earlier, a lot of my business background kicked in for me when I started Naissance Place. I started from the ground up. Literally, it was an idea. And it took me 3 years to actually decide to do this because it's a huge undertaking. I had no idea how huge it was going to be,
Mhm.
but it's huge, and oftentimes it's hard. It's really hard running a nonprofit. And I can tell you, my business background prepared me, but it didn't prepare me as well as it should have, right? Because there were so many other things that I did not know. Um, so I would tell anyone to please take a course, find out if there's someone that can mentor you along the way, because it's important for that. Because there were days where I just wanted to give up. I said, I can't do this anymore. I remember in the very beginning when I started asking for money, me with my pride and my business sense, like, I'm not begging nobody for any money. If they don't want to give it to us, we're not. I had to get that mentality out of the way because it wasn't about me asking for that personally. It was about me as the president and founder of Naissance Place trying to get funding so that we can help so many families that people who we were asking for didn't know about. So it was up to me to communicate to them why it was important to donate to our organization, how they would be enhancing and changing lives and fulfilling dreams that, I remember mother told me one day I saved her life. And I was like, wow, whoa, what does that mean? And she said, no, you don't understand. When my son was 3 years old, we went to the movies and we were literally kicked out because of the involuntary sounds he was making, the behavior he was making. She said, here he is, 13 years old. And she said it with tears in her eyes. We can now come to a movie and feel like we're part of our community. There's no one judging us. There's no one staring, telling us to shush. She said, thank you, because you gave us an opportunity to be a part of the community again. So that's important. But these are things I think, through leadership that you do need to get someone to mentor you. It's important, or to find out, what are the characteristics of a leader. I'm still learning. 9 years into running Naissance Place, it's truly taught me a lot. It taught me that I still need to learn a lot. um, I'm actually excited to now be a part of the American Express Social Justice Leadership Academy. Um, they have this amazing academy that they're went around the country and got individuals who are leaders in their communities, and they're teaching us how to be better leaders. So I'm super excited to be a part of that for the next 6 months. Courses like that and companies like that taking a chance on nonprofit organizations, leaders like me who still need to be developed, who still need to learn. It's very important.
Very good. Well, thank you for sharing that information. There's many conversations I have with people that are looking to start a nonprofit and looking for some direction. And for what you have been able to share with the audience, definitely the importance about mentorship, getting information, continuing your education around that, and learning as much as you possibly can is going to be helpful for those others that are starting nonprofits. As we close out this time together, this audience consists of students, parents, teachers, other administrators, superintendents, other community partners in schools. What is a message that you would like to share with others, maybe other parents of children with special needs? What is that closing message that you would like to share with others as we close out this time together?
The one thing I want to say is a couple of things I want to say actually is that parents need to know that they are their children's biggest and only advocates out here. They need to know what their rights are, what their educational rights are. But also, parents need to understand that they also have a responsibility. We so often say what the school districts are supposed to do for our children, and they're right. You know, we pay taxes, we pay our rent. We are supposed to get certain services and supports for our kids, but we as parents also have an obligation. I tell parents all the time, children, school is just one piece of our puzzle, right? We can't expect to send our children to school and they're going to fix them. It doesn't happen that way. What we can expect for us to work with the school districts in getting outside resources, also whether it's ABA, OT, speech, outside of the classroom, because the kid. Let's be realistic. Our children are in school maybe 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, and then you got vacations and all of that. School districts can't possibly get everything that they need to get into our children during that time. However, they are responsible and obligated to make sure they give our children the very best that they need. And whether that's a one-on-one aid, whether that's a school that can give them or meet their needs, that's important that they do that. But parents also have to do their jobs. And I tell parents that I work with all the time because I go to those IEP meetings and I listen to both sides of it. And you know, with anything else, as a parent of a child who has special needs, we're more passionate about trying to get the resources that we need. And I think someone who doesn't truly understand what we go through on a daily basis don't get it. But I think it's a way that we can all come together. I believe that in order for all of us to be successful, the school districts and our children and our families, that we have to work together. We have to get away from this, I guess, mentality, them against us or us against them. Why can't we work together? It bothers me to the core on why we're paying attorneys to mediate for us. Why are we spending money on attorneys when we could be spending that money in the classroom to help that child? Why are we fighting with a parent because she wants or they want a one-on-one aid in the classroom, which has been demonstrated that the child needs? And then on the other hand, why do we have a parent who wants a one-on-one aid for their child who truly doesn't need it? I think it's important that we have some type of bridge between the school districts and the parents. And it's not there yet, especially, I want to say it's not there in all communities. I do see a lot of it in the community that I live in Essex County. I think that there needs to be a bridge. I think there needs to be more understanding and there needs to be more compassion on both sides. I think that there's a bridge that needs to come together and we need to cross it together and not apart. And I think it's important for districts to start to not only listen to the parents, but listen to the staffs that you employ, the teachers who are in these classrooms every single day. Because so often you have these administrators who are looking at dollars and cents. And I get it, because we need to understand that a school district is a business. It's about saving money as well, but it should never be at the expense of our children, the services that they get. And I think both can be done, but we have to work together and not against each other. And I say to all of you who are listening now, let's find a way. Let's bridge that gap. You know, one of my key things is I think every school district should have a person working with the school district who lives a disability every day, who's a parent, who can bridge that gap, who can help. You know, we need to stop spending senseless money, right? How can we stop going to courts? How can we make this better? And how can we get the parents to better understand some of the things that they want may be a little unreasonable, and the school districts to understand that some of the things that the parents want aren't unreasonable? It can be done, but we got to work together. And I'm putting myself out there. I'm willing to come into any school district and be that person to come and show you how it can be done. And I believe that it can be.
Wow. Wonderful. Great information that you're sharing. And again, I love the fact that you're sharing with the audience that you're willing to support them on this advocacy and this journey. Again, on the screen, Nason's place telephone number for Nadine, right? Abubakar. And the number is 973-424-7781. And again, I'm going to post the website for Nason's Place is www.nasonsplace.org. please go visit the website, see the great work that she's been doing as she started this journey, and please support Naissance Place, their vision and their mission. Well, I would like to say thank you, Nadine, for coming on the show today. And thank you for modeling excellence for your family, for our community, the state, and for everyone that's watching. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Principal's Office. So join us next week with another episode with an amazing educator that has done something significantly for themselves, for others, and with others. Well, wish everybody to have a wonderful week, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nadine.
Thank you.